Another corrupt leader about to get the boot. He hid it all along, by Cat Stevens for DailyVine.com. In a New York Post piece titled How McConnell and Chow Used Political Power to Make Their Family Rich, Larry Getlin outlines exactly how this powerful family made an incredible amount of money off the political favors they claimed while serving in office. According to Getlin, the information came from a book that was written by Peter Schweizer. Schweizer's book delved into the Clinton Foundation's dealings in 2016, Clinton Cash. He has now turned his sights to the money-making machinations of DC's political elite. That book is titled Secret Empires: How the American Political Class Hides Corruption and Enriches Family and Friends. It's due out Tuesday from HarperCollins, and according to Getlin, it exposes how politicians engage in corruption by proxy by exploiting family and business ties to enrich themselves and their relatives. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao, ex-Commerce Secretary Penny Pritzker are just a few of the politicians that Schweizer exposes in his book. According to the details shared there, McConnell and his wife had a net worth of around $3 million in 2004, and now they have a net value about $36.5 million. Here's why. One source of the windfall, according to a new book from Peter Schweizer, was a 2008 gift from Chow's father, James Chow, for somewhere between $5 and $25 million. But this gift could be seen as more than just a gift. It may have been acquired, according to Schweizer, thanks to the couple's loyalty to China, the source of the Chow family fortune, and that loyalty may have occurred at the expense of the nation they had pledged to serve. How that woman married Mitch McConnell, if this wasn't some kind of a business deal, that woman married, take a look at her and take a look at Mitch McConnell. You gotta be kidding me. Secret Empires, the new book from the Clinton Cash and Throw Them All Out author details myriad examples of corruption from members of both major political parties rather than focusing on direct forms of corruption such as bribes. Schweizer hones in on the more indirect graft of the modern era. While politicians and their spouses are often subject to rigid regulations on what gifts they can accept and what sort of businesses they can conduct, others around them, like their friends or children, have no such obstacles. So while a politician could theoretically wind up in prison for accepting $10,000 for doling out favors, establishing overseas connections that could land your children multi-million-dollar deals is harder to detect and often legal. As Schweizer tells it, the Chow family fortune derives from the Foremost Group, a shipping company that Chinese native James Chow, a classmate of former Chinese President Jiang Zemin at Jiao Tong University, founded in New York in 1964. Chow remains Foremost chairman today, and his daughters, Angela and Christine, are the company's deputy chairwomen and general counsel, respectively. Elaine Chao worked there in the 1970s and has been quoted as saying, "Shipping is our family tradition." The success to Foremost is largely due to its close ties to the Chinese government, in particular the China State Shipbuilding Corps, a corporation with which Foremost has done large volumes of business. The CSSC, that's the business, Schweizer writes, is a state-owned defense conglomerate at the heart of the Chinese government's military-industrial complex. The main goal of the CSSC is to strengthen the Chinese military. James and Angela Chow have both sat on the board of a CSSC offshoot. While Foremost is an American company, their ships have been constructed by Chinese government shipyards, and some of their construction financed by the Chinese government. In addition, writes Schweitzer, their crews are largely Chinese, despite U.S. Transportation Secretary and company founder's daughter Elaine Chao having once said that ships crewed by Americans are a vital part of a national security. Okay. Given all this, it's worth noting how both McConnell and Chao, in their roles as high-ranking U.S. officials, have personally interacted with and then gone considerably soft on China since their 1993 wedding. And look at that face. You're telling me that woman married this thing? If it wasn't for business dealings? Oh man, I mean, this is like, it's just so obvious. When Senator McConnell, who took hardline positions against China prior to his marriage, met with high-ranking Chinese officials in 1994, it was not in his capacity as a senator, but via a personal invitation from the CSSC arranged by James Chao. McConnell met with Zemin, then the country's president, and Vice President Li Langjing. After this meeting, McConnell would increasingly avoid public criticism of China. More meetings like it would follow in the years to come, of course. They were promising him a nice-looking woman, too, in the process. So he figures, hey, why not? And making money, and as the Chaos and the Chinese government went into business together, the Chaos, McConnell's tied their economic fate to the good fortunes of Beijing. Schweitzer writes, were McConnell to critique Beijing aggressively or support policies damaging to Chinese interests, Beijing could severely damage the family's economic futures. In the ensuing years, McConnell has loudly defended China in its actions against Hong Kong and Taiwan, even claiming that the United States needed to be ambiguous as to whether we would come to the defense of Taiwan if attacked by China. When Senator Jesse Helms introduced the Taiwan Security Enhancement Act, pledging support for Taiwanese independence in 1999, it had 21 co-sponsors and heavy Republican support, but McConnell was not on the list. You wonder why? Well, when Congress required China to document annual progress on human rights in order to maintain its trade status in the aftermath of the Tiananmen Square massacre, ditching the requirement became a priority for the country. In 2000, McConnell co-sponsored S-2277, which would do just that. McConnell also fought attempts to punish China for vigorously undervaluing its currency, a tactic that led Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid to invoke the nuclear option, changing Senate rules on voting. The bill passed 63-35, with McConnell voting against. Chao has also done her part to support her ancestral home. When she served as Secretary of Labor under George W. Bush, her department resisted efforts to call out the Chinese government over its workers' rights practices. When a petition was filed against China on the subject of workers' rights based on the U.S. Trade Act of 1974, Chao opposed it. After a bipartisan congressional report citing Chinese espionage against the U.S. circulated in 2000, Chao was critical of the report, making clear she in no way agreed with its findings, and Schweitzer writes, dismissing the idea that China could pose any threat to the United States. Republicans whose interests are somewhere other than their conservative constituency have been given the name rhinos, Republican in name only. This is what is being referred to, someone whose policies are Republican because it's beneficial to them, their business, or their family. They don't believe in a conservative cause because of its intrinsic truth, just because it's the best for them at the moment. The McConnells are far from the only family to have family members who had a big influence on public policy. Congressional children becoming lobbyists is a growing disturbing tradition. Former Senator Trent Lott's son, Chet, who was managing Domino's pizza franchises in Lexington, Kentucky, when he decided to spin policy instead of pizza. Senator Orrin Hatch, who, along with his son Scott, a lobbyist for the likes of Schering, Plow, Bayer, Colgate, Palmolive, GlaxoSmithKline, and more, have been the best friends the diet supplement industry ever had, helping them avoid government oversight, you see. So, and Hunter Biden and Chris Hines, son and stepson, respectively, of Joe Biden and John Kerry, created an international private equity firm that formed details with foreign governments, including an investment fund and joint venture with the Bank of China. At the same time, their fathers were working with those governments on highly sensitive political matters. Yeah, Kerry and Biden went to China for 10 days, and they got their sons into the $1 billion deal with the China Bank of China. The president's job of draining the swamp might not end up being only on the left side of the aisle. Do you think Congress needs new leadership? Let us know in the comments. Yeah, you gotta redo the whole system. Look at that thing. That woman married him other than for political and money gains? I mean, really? You gotta be kidding me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.